It's cruise time once again, and we're here at Celebrate Oxford to celebrate some of the greatest hot rods on the road. My name's Kurt Graham, and let's go check out this one over here first. This is a great looking car. It's a 1964 Buick Riviera.
Yes.
And your name is?
Larry
Larry what?
Bosler.
And how long have you had this beauty?
Actually, only 2 years. I bought it last year. The car's out of Oklahoma. It was actually finished pretty much the way you see it right now, the way it sits. It's pretty much original the way it came, except for that the car's been lowered about 2.5 inches, and door handles been shaved, and the wheels actually. But other than that, it's pretty much the way it would have looked right from the factory.
And that's a nice little subtlety. I didn't even notice the doors being shaved till I walked right up on the vehicle.
Yeah, yeah, that's it is. It makes a little cleaner look, and as I told somebody on one of the car shows, I says, "Yeah, we're from Detroit. You can't be too careful. We gotta have."
Exactly. How do you get in this thing?
I got my remote actually, and they call it a door popper actually, and there's a solenoid inside, and it pops the door actually, so it actually opens the door like that.
And there we go.
And there you go. Yeah. It's
Okay.
kind of neat.
What do you got underneath the hood?
That is a 425 cubic inch, 445 foot-pounds of torque, and it has 360 horsepower. That is the original engine.
Wow, out of the factory, 360 horsepower
Right.
for 1964.
1964. But the real thing was actually that they rated them by the torque, the foot-pounds of torque, actually, rather than
The horsepower.
the horsepower. That's what Buick did. That was their kind of claim to fame, I guess, to say.
Gotcha. Any other amenities on this one that make it a little special?
Well, we got a CD player with some power on it. It has ability to play your iPod and stuff. Has what they call Vintage Air. It's a company that where it allows you to retrofit air conditioning, put them on cars that didn't have them, or upgrade it to this new system that it's a whole lot smaller, and they could pretty much put it on any car. It's really it keeps it cool with being a black car, and it actually works really good. It's a nice deal. Nice add-on.
I can imagine. What's some of your favorite stories from driving this thing? I'm sure you got one or two.
Well, lots of thumbs up. Lots of people giving their appreciation. Geez, right offhand. Probably my grandson being in the back seat when we were on Woodward at the Dream Cruise last year, and somebody came up and alongside of us, and he says the guy who was in a hopped up car, I think it was a Ford Fairlane actually, and he goes, "Nice car," but he goes, "I bet you can't do this," and he continued to burn his tires out, and I said, "Oh yeah, you think so?" And I went, and my grandson got all excited. He loved telling that story. So,
How old's your grandson?
5 years old. That's him right there. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
Well, it's good to have the whole family out here and enjoying the gorgeous day we have for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm glad you brought this one out. It's really an eye catcher when you walk up on it, and the subtleties on it, such as being lowered down, the chrome on the rims, the shaved door handles. It really makes it a nice ride.
Thank you very much.
Hi, and welcome to the final edition of Saddle Up.
Hi, welcome back to Billion Temple CrossFit. I'm your personal trainer.
Now, the Perch just weren't here naturally. Something brought them here.
Welcome back to Daybreak with Susan and Joe, and we're going to wrap up our session here today and talk a little bit about water.
They say nothing runs like a Jag, and we got a shiny red Jag right here in front of us. What's your name?
My name's Larry Perkins, and I'm from Rochester, Michigan.
And what year is this beautiful Jag that's sitting in front of us?
This is a 1970 Series 2 E-Type or XKE Jaguar Roadster convertible.
Okay, and it's got a pretty big motor in it. What's it got?
Well, the Series 1 and Series 2 both came with the same engines, and they were twin cam inline six cylinders, and put out about 260, 265 horsepower. Rated one of the very first affordable sports cars that was rated 150 miles per hour on the road.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's an awful lot to be handling, with a car that has no roof over your head, no roll bar.
And a lousy seatbelt. To go that fast, you'd have to be somewhere over in Europe, like on the Autobahn or something like that. Because over here, you'd never want to try that. I think the fastest I've had it up to is maybe 75 on M59 or I-75, just to kind of blow out the cylinders a little bit once in a while. But it's an exhilarating car to drive. It has a lot of low-end torque, 4-speed transmission. It's all original, obviously been restored, but just a lot of fun to drive.
What's one of the most fun things that you've done with this car? Where have you gone? What have you seen? What's the epitome of this car when you drive it?
Well, I'll be honest, I've only had it since last September. I traded in, sold an old 67 MGB, which was also in very, very good condition.
Uh-huh.
The guy made me an offer the Saturday morning of the Dream Cruise last year, last August. So I sold that. A couple of months later, I bought this. And so I haven't really taken it out on to many shows or to many long drives. I would say this show, the Auburn Hills show, and then this Oxford Rotary Club show are probably, the most fun so far, getting it out for a big show, a weekend show.
Mm-hmm. I notice also, just standing here, that you've got the Redline tires and you've also got wire rims on this.
Chrome wires were standard on it.
Let me go ahead and retry that one again.
Sure.
I noticed from standing here looking at the car that you've got Redline tires and you've also got a nice set of wire wheels on it with spinners.
Yeah, thanks. It's that kind of the Redline tires kind of sets it off with the red paint, obviously. But there were three things on this car, and I looked at thousands over the years before I pulled the trigger and actually bought this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 50-year dream for me. Three things on the car that stood out. A larger capacity alloy aluminum radiator, which cured the problems of the overheating issues early on. The second thing was it has electronic ignition, which cured the old Lucas electrical problems. And the third thing was the previous owner had put a brand new stainless steel exhaust system on it, which will probably outlive me. So the car, as I say, is all original, restored correctly and authentically. A lot of fun to drive. It's a 50-year dream for me, as I say. 1961, a friend and I went over to Falby Motors in Ferndale. And because one of our friends had said, Larry, there's a new car, a sports car they have sitting in their showroom. You guys have to see this. And that was the E-Type or XKE Jag.
Right.
Like most guys, as soon as I saw it, I fell in love with the styling, with the design.
Sure.
And thank God, 50 years later, I was able to find one and actually buy one and enjoy it.
With that long, sleek front end and the nose the way it is.
Yeah, it's a kick to drive. It really is.
And bright red, that probably didn't hurt things either, did it?
Yeah, probably the more popular color, believe it or not, is British Racing Green. But yeah, I agree with you. The red really sets it off. Yeah.
It's a beautiful car. Thanks for showing it to me today. And many, many, many miles of touring with this new ride for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot.
They say all Corvettes are red, but this one, it's bright red.
Yes, thank you. It's I bought it in 1997. It was a mess when I got it. If you look at the picture I got back there in the garage there, it was everything was wrong with it. So I bought the car inexpensively, and I just put a lot of money back into it, over the years. The interior, exterior, new paint job, things like that. And then the name of the car is Betsy 2, and a lot of people ask me why Betsy 2, and I says, well, my first vehicle was my Schwinn bike in 1955 when I was 10.
Right.
So that was Betsy 1. This is Betsy 2. Now the original Betsy is Davy Crockett's Flint Kentucky rifle. That's where I picked it up as, because I was a big fan of Davy Crockett when I was a little kid.
Okay.
So that's where Betsy 2 came from. And my wife doesn't like to ride in it because it messes up her hair, so that's cool.
Is this an L82 or L88?
No, this is an L48.
L48.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you've got the 350 in this?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay. How many horse on this one?
I think it's rated around 270.
270?
Yeah.
Sweet. It's
Yeah.
got the beautiful doeskin interior in it and really sets off the red paint.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And plus I got the red stripe on the wheel.
And this one's a 74.
74. Yeah.
Okay, how long have you had it?
I bought it in 97. So that's what, 16, 17 years.
Quite a few miles of cruising on it.
Yeah, I got over 100,000 miles on it, but it's still running good. I put 1,000 a year on it. So
Where's your favorite place to cruise besides Oxford?
I like Rochester Hills. That's where I'm from.
Okay.
So I'm kind of prejudiced that way, but hometown.
What are some of the places over in Rochester Hills besides the downtown area?
Well, they got a show. Let's see, I'm trying to think on Thursday nights at the golf course on Adams and Silver Bell.
Okay.
And then I go to Wednesday nights. I go to the Gathering Place, and that's in Troy, and that's another good show. And there's one on Monday nights at in downtown, not downtown Rochester, by Crittenden Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So we go there on Monday night. So I got kind of a schedule that I go on different nights of the week.
It gives you something to do, keeps you off the streets or back on the streets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. I put on some of the house chores on it, but that's okay too. Gets me out of the house, like you said. And my kids like it. I let my son drive it once in a while when he comes into town.
That's one lucky guy right there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's a good hobby, and I've been retired, and it just keeps me busy.
Cars are always a good hobby. They can be a little on the expensive side, but when
Yes.
you walk away with something as beautiful as this one right
Oh,
here,
thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are doing a good job too.
thank you very much.
And to be honest with you, who you guys with?
This is Oxford Community Television, and we do this. It's a show. It's called Cruisin' Oxford, and it's just something we like to do. Show off the cars in the neighborhood.
Oh, I'll be sure to check that out.
Real good.
You guys are doing a good job, and it's a lot of fun and good presence. You have a good presence.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Fred Swan's got a great looking 36 Mercedes. And what color is this thing?
This is actually a custom mixed color that I came up with, and it was kind of what we call a by gosh.
Okay.
Basically, I wanted a rich orange, like a root beer color.
Mm-hmm.
And the paint on the side was a mixture of some red and some caramel and yellow and some brown and everything else, and that's what it came out to be. I wasn't sure how it would go when I painted it, but everybody says it really looks nice, and I got to where I really like it too.
Oh, the two colors really accentuate each other. Set it off, especially with all the chrome that you've got on there. Someone told me that you hand tooled all this yourself.
This car I built completely from the ground up. There's over 150 pieces of individual chrome trim and parts and everything that's made that I built for it. It took me about 4 years when I started on it. And the whole front end, the hood, side panels, and the louvers, the side mount covers, the fender skirts, and all 4 fenders on the car are actually handmade. The body is a glass body, and the rest of the car is built out of aluminum and steel.
Okay. What did you start out with when it was the bare bones of a car?
When it was bare bones of the car, it was a roadster body, and I threw away about 50% of it.
Which made it a lot lighter.
A lot lighter, yeah.
You got the fender skirts on here that add real nice, rich, elegant looking styling to it.
I built them on an English wheel. I bought an English wheel, and it's the first thing I ever built on an English wheel was with it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing what you can do with one of those.
Now, Fred, what do you got for a motor inside this?
Okay, this engine in this car is a 58 283 Corvette engine, and it's been built up. It's got tri-power, it's got a high-performance cam, it's got 9-to-1 compression, and I opted for a 704 overdrive transmission.
Do you have vacuum secondaries or mechanicals?
Vacuums.
Vacuums?
Oh, I'm sorry, they're mechanical.
Mechanicals.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, nothing runs like a Corvette motor.
Oh yeah. It's a small engine, but it performs quite well.
Oh, I'm sure it does with a lightweight car like that.
Yeah. Car weighs around 2,300, and I just completed it last fall. Not to brag or anything, but it only made 3 shows last year, and I got 3 first place awards with it and 3 best of shows with it.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And I can truly understand why. I mean, everything from the louvered front fenders to the tire package on the side. Like I said before, you've got the rear fender flares. Just everything says class and elegance on this car, including the two-tone paint job.
Yeah. It took me 4 years to do it, and when I first bought this car, I bought it sight unseen, and when it showed up, I was absolutely devastated because it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Because you bought a car in a box.
Bought a car in a box, but it wasn't much of a car.
No instructions.
Yeah. It didn't come as a kit car. It was a drivable car,
Uh-huh.
but it was a total mess. Yeah, the guy that I bought it from, he misrepresented it quite badly, and I paid way too much money for it. But I said, well, you know, with what I've got in it and what I'd like to see it be, I don't even got one choice, and that's to go ahead and build it and make it worth the money. So that's what I did.
And you definitely made it an eye catcher. One of the nicest cars here today.
You know, we're pretty proud of it.
And you got a reason to be. Thanks for showing it to me, Fred.
Okay, glad
A
you like it.
1959
Glad you guys
Pontiac
could see it.
Catalina hardtop is what Bob Giroux has, and she's pretty nice. It's white, it's clean, it's straight.
Very clean. It only has 31,000 actual miles on it.
Brand new car.
Almost, not broke in yet.
How's the padding on the seat?
Very good. It's a very comfortable car to drive and ride in. Very comfortable.
What's some of the amenities that this particular one has?
The only thing it's got really is it got his power steering and power brakes, and it's got the Ventura trim, and it does have different tires on it. It's got radial tires now, and I have the original tires home that were the old bias type tire, but I have those home. They're white walls, by the way. So that's what it had when it was new, a white wall bias tire.
And it makes all the difference in the world whether or not you're driving on a bias ply tire or whether or not you're driving on a radial tire.
Big difference. Real big, yeah.
You want to be safe on those radial tires.
Yeah, that's right. These handle much better, they corner better, everything. They hold the road much nicer.
So what power is this one?
This is only a 389 2-barrel carburetor on it. So it's with an automatic transmission, hydromatic. So it's not a real, it's not a race car, it's not a fast car or anything, but it'll go plenty fast.
Hey, it's a good highway car is what it is.
A 389 cubic engine had a lot of torque, and they go right along. They'll go right along as fast as anybody would want to go.
How long have you had this particular car?
I've only had this car for about a year and a half to 2 years, and I bought it from a company in Clarkston called Southern Motors, and I bought it from Mr. Vern Roberts. He was the owner, and sadly enough, he passed away here about a year ago, I believe. And this car was in his private collection, and it was not for sale at the dealership there where he owned. But anyway, when he found out the bad news on his health, I guess he decided that he was going to get rid of a few cars that he had. And I was lucky enough to hear about it real quick, and I bought it from him. I had been trying to buy this car for about a year and a half, 2 years before that, and he would not sell it. It had a big sign on the window in his showroom that display only, not for sale. So anyway, I got it, and I'm sure glad. It's just a great car.
What is your big fascination with the Pontiacs? What draws you to the Pontiacs?
Well, I made my living at Pontiac Motor Division back in the 60s and late 50s, and I don't know, I always drove a Pontiac, and now that they don't make them anymore, I wanted one again, and now I got one, and that's good. You know, that's my fascination is, I guess I was dedicated to Pontiac cars, and that's all.
Besides Oxford, what's your favorite place to cruise?
Oh, the Dream Cruise. I like that. Get together, and we go to Lake Orion. You know, on Tuesday nights, there's a cruise there in Lake Orion, and there's quite a few cruises around. And we go to another nice one I like to go to is the City of Holly. They have a nice one on Wednesday evening, and I go to Holly quite often. So.
Now, I've been told Oakland County or North Oakland County, if you were to start out on Monday night, you could go all the way through the week and hit a different cruise every different night of the week.
Oh, that's definitely right. Probably 2 or 3 different every night, you know. But that's for sure. And I subscribe to a magazine called Cruisin' News, and it gives all the cruises that are going on in the area and even out of the area. But it's a good thing to subscribe to if you'd like to go to shows, you know. And like today, there's probably 6 or 8 shows going on right now.
Absolutely.
Within 10 miles of here.
And you couldn't ask for any better day for the weather.
It's absolutely perfect.
Perfect.
Yep, you don't get hot, and it's very nice.
Well, I'm glad you and your wife came out here, and she's got a big part in this too. What's her name?
Marlene.
Okay, we have to say hi to Marlene because, well, this is partly her car too.
Oh yeah, she kind of tells me what I can and can't buy, and I only have 2 cars left now, and we've sold a bunch of cars that we had, and we were strictly street rodders before this.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of street rods, which is a 1948 or older type car, and we got rid of all those, and I guess, well, we like the Pontiac because it rides so much nicer than a street rod.
Right, and like we said before, it is a highway car.
It is. It drives very nice. In fact, my wife has a fairly new car, and this car drives every bit as good and rides, I think, better than the new one does.
Well, thank you very much for showing this to us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm here with Larry Rogers, and he's got a 67 Firebird convertible. That's a lot to say.
Yeah, it's one of, I don't know, there was 9,200 made that year.
Now, how many of them were green?
I don't know about that. Probably not a lot, especially with a gold interior. I'm not
Exactly. You wouldn't be, you didn't think you were going to be tested today.
Sure. No, I didn't.
Well, let me ask you this. What size motor is underneath the hood?
It's 326 DA.
Two-barrel, 4-barrel?
It's a 2-barrel.
All right. And what other amenities does this one have? Any air conditioning?
No, it's got a 2-speed. So it you know, when you start off, it just shifts once, and that's it. So it's not like cars of today where you got 3, 4, 5, 6 speeds, something.
Right.
So it's just basic AM radio, and not a lot of extras to it, but you know, it hasn't been restored. That's what people like about it most. Is that it's original. It's been repainted once, but it's got the original interior, original engine. So it's just the way it was when they made it.
Clean and green.
Yeah, I guess so.
What's your favorite place to cruise besides Oxford?
Oh, I don't know. I like going down by the cider mills off of in Goodison there. That there's a winding road around there, and that's real neat. I like going down that way, especially in the fall. Get the nice fall colors and stuff.
Are you getting ready for this year's Dream Cruise?
Yeah. My son, he's going to be 8 this year, so he loves going down there and acting like he's driving. So he sits in the driver's seat and answers a bunch of questions he doesn't know the answer to.
This is a great project for the entire family. Now, do you stack mom and the kids in here all the time, or is it kind of like dad's getaway and midlife crisis?
No, it's a family thing. You know, they're on their way here now, so we always just go, the 3 of us, or if we got some company, and we'll bring them too.
Well, it's a beautiful car, and certainly caught my eye. I'm kind of a Pontiac guy at heart.
Okay.
And I saw that and I said, man, that's a gorgeous green Firebird.
Well, people either they don't like the color or they like the color. So for some reason, it's a Verduro green. It's the original color that year. Like you said, I don't know how many they made that year, but people say they really like that color. They said they like the car, but they really don't like the color. So.
Well, I think you did really good with this one. Have you had it very long?
I've had it for 10 years. I haven't done a thing except polish it and sit in it and drive around. So I haven't done a whole lot to it, but it doesn't need it. So.
And sometimes you just go out, sit in the garage, and Dream Cruise without moving.
Maybe. Yeah, when I need to get away, I could do that.
Well, thank you very much for showing me your car today.
Okay.
You've definitely got a beauty on your hands.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you.
We are 2.5 million members strong, men and women from every state in the nation and around the world. No other veterans organization wields this kind of power. We work relentlessly within our 4 pillars of service, and we succeed. The American Legion takes care of our fellow veterans and their families. We maintain close ties with Congress and the leaders in Washington, D.C. They respect us. They listen to us. We sponsor research and press for medical care and benefits for all veterans and active duty service members, whether they are members of the American Legion or not.
President Roosevelt signs G.I. Joe's Bill of Rights.
You've heard of the GI Bill of Rights, one of the most important pieces of social legislation of the 20th century. It was written and passed largely through the efforts of the American Legion. We were instrumental in the formation of what is now the Department of Veterans Affairs to make sure our veterans get the care and benefits they are promised and deserve. The young people of our nation are our future. They benefit from exceptional programs and generous scholarships that only the American Legion offers. We provide athletic programs like American Legion Junior Shooting Sports, Legion Baseball, and educational and civics programs like the Oratorical Scholarship Contest and Boys State and Boys Nation.
As Supreme Court Justice Hugo Black stated, the quality of justice that Americans receive should not depend upon the amount of money they have.
We promote citizenship and an appreciation of government. We have all been directly involved in our nation's defense as wartime veterans. We know what policies, tools, and manpower our military needs to protect this great country. We fight to get these things done.
We're all very grateful to have the American Legion on point.
We take our case all the way to the top in Washington, D.C. to ensure that America is prepared for any threat. We are patriots through and through. We believe in our flag and all that it stands for. Our Constitution, our Pledge of Allegiance, our way of life are all fundamental to maintaining our freedom and the standing that we have as the greatest country on earth. We promote and defend these values every day in communities across the nation. These pillars represent not just what we do, but who we are. We're here to serve our fellow veterans, their families, and all of America. We are here for them. We are here for you. The American Legion asks you to join us in our mission. If you share our vision and commitment to America, visit our website at legion.org or your nearest American Legion post today.